So lots of people wonder if I have a formal education in photography or if I'm self-taught. The truth is I have both, a formal education and I am self-taught. Photography is always changing, so it's something you always have to keep learning about. But I started learning photography in middle school, and my dad taught me originally the basics of black and white photography and how to develop film. He had some really nice big Kodak books, how to photograph black and white. And so I studied those books and I did a lot of experimenting and learning on my own as well. In high school, I did all the photography courses that were available. I was the photo editor for the yearbook. I studied with a great teacher there named Andy High Street. Hey Andy, hope you're watching this. When I researched photography colleges, the top three were RIT in New York, Brooks in California, and then LCC, which was in my hometown of Lansing. So I ended up going to LCC and having an incredible experience there. It was a 3-year intensive photography program, which meant that for 3 years, every class was hands-on photography or conceptual photography, color theory, and that type of thing. We studied darkroom photography. We had like over 30 enlargers in the black and white darkroom there. We studied color photography, including color darkroom, which is really complex, very challenging, working in the color darkroom. Shot a lot of slide film, worked with just really incredible world-class instructors there at LCC. And in my 3rd year, I got to choose an emphasis or a major, and so I chose the digital hybrid major, which studied the new emerging digital technology. So it was hybrid because we still were shooting film, but then we were scanning the film on high-resolution film scanners into the computer environment and then started working with Photoshop. So I got to learn Photoshop when it was version 4, which was the first version that actually had layers. If you've ever used Photoshop, it's hard to imagine using Photoshop without having the layers as an option. So really grateful for that base and that technical understanding of the physics of photography, of the lenses and studio equipment and the black studio and the white studio and how to use strobes and how to use self-contained lighting units on location. Really comprehensive photographic education there at LCC. And one of the biggest blessings of LCC was because it was a community college, I was able to pay for school as I went, which meant I graduated with no debt at all. So straight out of school, I was able to go out and open my first photography studio. I've run my own studios or freelanced as a photographer ever since I graduated college in 1997. With the exception of 2 years where I also worked at a big photo studio in Detroit where we photographed cars. That was quite an education there, learning to work in that 10,000 square foot studio, $80,000 photo shoots, really complex projects, really advanced technology. That's where I really started learning how to shoot with digital technology and use digital cameras. And that experience working with Devo Photographic in Detroit was a huge part of my education as well. 2002 is when I went digital and bought my first digital camera and started shooting with digital, and it's been a continual education process ever since then. Learning techniques. I'm sure you've realized that when you take a picture with your cell phone, it doesn't look anything like what you actually see. So there's a huge learning curve to how to take and make a photograph with a digital camera that actually represents the real world and looks as beautiful as the real natural world that we live in. I'm constantly learning new techniques and about new equipment and incorporating those into my process. And it's really fun to be working in an industry that's constantly changing and that I have new things to learn all the time.